Is this on? This never sounds like it's on. Oh, there we go. We'll go ahead and get started. We are waiting on one more board member, but we don't need her for a quorum, right? Correct. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay, a roll call, please.
Okay, Ms. Maya Bowler,
Here.
Patrick Connors,
Here.
Trey Harshaw,
Here.
Charlene Barhu, John George,
Here.
David Betts.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Introduction of city staff. We have Miss Melissa Phillips, our development review technician. Mr. David Russell, our deputy city attorney? Or
Assistant City Attorney.
assistant city attorney. And Miss Becky Groom is not here today. She's usually our board secretary, but you're doing double duty today. And we have our lovely IT department back there. And Miss Mary Wissenbacher is also here, also a development review technician. And that's it. Our next step is approval of the minutes from the Thursday, August 17th, 2023 minutes. Do we have any comments or questions, changes? If not, do we have a motion and a second, please?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you so much. We don't have any continued cases this time, but we do have 3 new cases. Ms. Phillips, if you could read case A into the record. Also, I have a question before we start. Case A and case B seem like they're the same. Can we just address them at the same time and do separate motions, or should we stay away from that?
They are very similar.
Okay. Other than one property's there and one's being
One is
built.
under
Yeah,
construction, one
right.
hasn't started yet, but they're same house, same everything, David?
That's the same applicant.
Same applicant, same everything?
Same letters, same, yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, so case A and B, Board of Adjustments 2023-018, 019, variance from Article 4, Section 42C3 of the City of Daytona Beach Land Development Code. A request by Cobb Cole, attorneys at law, on behalf of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Volusia County, property owner, for a variance from Article 4, Section 4.2C3, residential-based zoning districts, multifamily residential 12 of the Land Development Code for a single-family structure to decrease the minimum interior side setback from 7.5 feet to 5 feet. This setback reduction will allow a 40-foot wide single-family home to be constructed on this parcel by Habitat for Humanity of Greater Volusia County Affordable Housing Program. This property is located at 715 Alabama Street. The second property is located at 753 Alabama Street.
Thank you. Do we have the applicant in the audience? Or a representative? If you could state your name and address for the record, please. I know, I just noticed that was
Isn't that
there.
fancy, huh?
Wow.
ADA compliance. For the record, Jessica Gallo, Cobb Cole Law Firm, 149 South Road Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida, right down the block. We are here today on behalf of Habitat for Humanity. We do have Lori and Pam with Habitat if you have questions about their structure. We've gone through this process with the city. Habitat is really focusing their efforts, especially in this Alabama Street area, to develop affordable housing for fee simple ownership, so not rentals, but actual homeowners for affordable housing participants, which we think is really exciting. The city in the past few years has been really focused on affordable housing development within our community, of course. 32114 is one of the most depressed zip codes income-wise in the state, and so we really want to see that focus and upbringing there. They recently adopted some code provisions regarding affordable housing that reduced the setback to 5 feet if you have a non-conforming lot. So if this lot was 49 feet and 11 3/4 inches, the setback would be 5 feet. Because it is affordable housing, but because it is exactly 50 feet wide, it is 7.5. which is what caused a little bit of the confusion during the pre-app and kind of what we're trying to correct here today. We are working on a more global approach too with the city to just amend the land development code for all affordable housing to kind of have structured setback programs so that there's not this confusion on if it meets this lot width or if it doesn't, here's what applies, and just kind of having a global approach. We are excited about the development of these lots. You can see the floor plans. Habitat is rearing and ready to go. They have a wait list for residents here in our community. And so we're really hoping that you can support the applications today, and we're here to answer any questions.
Thank you. And it sounds like everything you just said applies to case A, to both
B,
properties.
correct.
Okay. If you need to distinguish at any point between one or the other, just stop us and let us know if we do have questions. And then I guess the record can reflect that Ms. Barr, who has also now joined us. Hello, welcome. And your polka dots. Does anyone have any questions to start off with before we get to the audience? No?
Nay?
I have a question.
Sure.
Could you help define zoning and development review team?
So that is the technical review team. So anytime you come in for a development application or permit, you meet with we call it the TRT. It is planning, utilities, fire, police doesn't join, but public works does. It's basically somebody from each development side department comes and, you have a virtual meeting, you go over the proposal, you go through pros and cons and any issues, and you get direction for submittal from there. So that's.
Thank you.
Thank you also for your detailed letter. I feel like it helped explain everything very well.
Sure.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak on one side or the other? Are you for or against? Okay, hold on. Okay, we'll do 4 first. We usually split them up. Sometimes we don't have anybody, so then I just say it. So is there anybody in the audience to speak for this agenda item, case A and case B? Or if you're, you can come on up. Will be the deciding factor. If you could state your name and address for the record into the
My name is Sammy
microphone.
Davis.
Hi.
I stay at 737 Iowa Street. I see the city got the sign at 2 lots up there. One, they already got the foundation pole, and she asking for a setback. So I don't know which one of them she talking about, because if it's only one, how can she get approved for it? It's already, the foundation's already pulled, and then they got another post up there. So how can you get it approved after the fact? That's what my problem.
Okay, we can definitely help answer your question. So we have a huge packet that kind of explains all this, but I understand to the audience it may not be readily apparent. So and you guys can help me in the review process of this, there was a mistake actually on the city's part, on all of our part, and we didn't realize that a setback would have to be, that this variance was necessary, basically. And so one house already is underway.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. And so this is kind of an after the fact thing on both parts, because even the one that you don't see there has already all the building plans, everything's done and set. So, even though you don't see the house there, this is also, both of them are kind of after the fact, because this was just realized, but because we have to, put it on the record and make sure we do it right, we have to be here and have it be before this board. Does that answer your question?
And the law does allow for us to go and approve variances if things are built already, even with permits, or like we have another case later in the agenda that was done in violation of our ordinances, and they've come in to ask for relief after the construction's been done. We don't necessarily have to approve it, but the law allows us to review it and approve it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, was my only question.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And this is not
After
usually
the
the
fact.
way it's done. And usually when this is done after the fact, it's coming from code enforcement. It's something that was later discovered. And so we as a board, sometimes we approve them, sometimes we don't, but we really don't like to see that. In this case, it was it was probably more of like the way that the code falls, because if the property was 50 feet wide, it would fall under these rules. If it was 49, it would fall under these rules. And so it's more of a technical error here.
Because I know a lot of time this is what happened, you know, after code enforcement, after they done
Right.
changed so many rules and stuff.
Right.
We don't actually keep up with them. We're
Right.
behind the ball all the time, seem like.
Right,
I was
and-
just, you know, I
yeah.
was just wondering why. 'Cause
It's a good
I
question.
just only seen it when I was riding my bicycle, because I just hadn't been able to get out and ride. But when I seen it, you know, I wanted to know what the adjustment were,
Right.
you know, because it was always 7.5 feet, you know.
Yeah, no,
Most
exactly.
all the lots out there except the back lots on the ones I stay on, you know.
So you are a neighbor out there. You live on along those
I'm a
streets?
homeowner, put it
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
I live on the last
And-
street.
Okay.
Y'all had a sign, but when people come out in the back, they can't even see the sign.
Right.
If you put it in the middle of the street, when they come out, they can see it both ways, but y'all just put it right on the lot. And a lot of people don't even turn to the right. They come out and go left.
Right.
These lots is going back to Florida Street. So I was just one I wanted to come and see when I have a chance to, because,
That's good.
you know, because most people, normally, my daughter will be working today, but she off because I pick my granddaughter up at 2:30. I can't make the meetings at 2:30.
Right. I know they're hard in the middle of the day.
So I just wanted to find
Well,
out.
we're glad you came. And do you have an opinion one way or the other about the
Well, it's
setback?
already did now, so
Okay.
my opinion ain't gonna make any difference
Right.
right now,
Right.
you know? It's up to y'all. Y'all gonna approve it or y'all, well, I know now y'all gonna approve it because they already billing.
Well, we don't necessarily, that's
I
not
know you,
written,
y'all can
but
turn it down, but, you know,
right. Like, we're in the unfortunate position that we have to look at it now of like what's, it's already built. How, is it make sense to tear everything down for 2
no,
feet?
because it's a good thing because somebody needs somewhere to stay.
Exactly. So that's the position that we're in right now.
Okay.
Luckily, this was a mistake on the city side and not like sometimes somebody just doing something, they know the rule and they just do it no matter what. Like that we really don't like. I can say on my time on this board, I have not seen this situation before where, there was,
You know, we learn something new every day.
exactly. And we're all learning
These
together.
one of 'em. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and for your comments. Did you have something?
Again, for the record, Jessica Gao, Coppell Law Firm, 149 South Roadwood Avenue. I try to say it faster each time. Just for the neighborhood, if they do have questions, I want to clarify that the foundation that is there was built with a permit issued. I just wanted to clarify that. And that was it was mistakenly issued permit, and
Okay.
that's what we're correcting. And so, like you said, it was not work done without a permit. There was a permit issued. We realized it was an error, and we're correcting that, just for the neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience to speak on this issue? No? Do you want to come up and say something, or yeah, you don't have to. Only if you want to.
I don't know if I need to. but
Okay.
now since she asked, I'll be very, very brief. I'm Lori Galuli. I'm the CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Volusia County. We're very grateful for the partnership that we have with the city of Daytona Beach. We started with 2 parcels on Alabama, built those 2 homes. That was a swap that we did with the city of Daytona Beach for a parcel they wanted for a different type of development that we owned. Then we were able to purchase another one. I'm here with Pamela Greenhaw. She's our Director of Operations in charge of construction. We were very fortunate in that we found these 4 lots on Alabama. And we're very excited to have a number of homes on one street. These are Habitat homeowners, or people who hold essential jobs in this community. They work as school bus drivers, they work in the schools as assistants, they work in the medical field as CNAs, phlebotomists, patient techs, they work in hospitality and manufacturing, but their incomes are not such that they could walk into a bank and be approved for a conventional mortgage. Habitat sells them the house at no profit to us, and then we provide right here locally a 0-interest mortgage for the life of the loan. And that's based on an affordable amount that they can pay, less than 30% of their income. So then, as they make their mortgage payment, they're building equity, but we're using that cash flow to build more homes. So we appreciate your consideration of this request. We build a quality home, and we hope that you will entertain this favorably. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
No, and I just wanted to clarify, if that the mistake wasn't necessarily the city saying, oh, we actually do need a variance on this 50 feet. It was more that if the property was 49 feet wide, no variance would be required, but it turns out the property is actually technically 50 feet wide, and so that means that the setback all of a sudden is 2.5 feet. And so we're just right on that line of, teetering on the edge of this requirement. Is that correct?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
And again, we value the partnership we have with all of the city staff, working closely with them. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate, again, your consideration today. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? I had one other question. Did you guys incur any expense, because of this? I feel like Cobb Cole was already involved.
Yeah, no, I would say we've been helping through the process. There's a variance application fee that was waived.
Okay,
And so the city's
okay.
been very understandable
Okay,
in the process,
okay.
and they've been great to work with all
Okay,
throughout.
okay, okay. So there's some time, but there hasn't, yeah. Okay, okay, okay,
Thank you.
okay. If we have no other questions, does anyone have a motion?
I just wanted to say that I think, with the code being so in flux, kind of interesting how 1 foot less would be fine. Working on changing the code might be a good idea for affordable housing. I'm a supporter of affordable housing.
Me too,
and
yeah,
especially Habitat for Humanity. This makes sense. I mean, the lots are weird, so
yeah,
they're awful thin for the size house they want to put up. And the size house they want to put up is just perfect for the type of home that Habitat has.
yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve case A. Seeing we should do 2 motions.
Okay, so you are making a motion to approve on case A
Case
and
A.
case B?
And then.
Oh,
do
you
case B
make it
after.
separate, okay. And you're going to second case A. Mrs. Phillips?
Ms. Bowler,
Yes.
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Mr. Hershaw,
Yes.
Ms. Barhu,
Yes.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Mr. Betts.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on case B?
I'll make a motion to approve case B.
Mr. Betts? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Ms. Bowler,
Yes.
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Mr. Hershaw,
Yes.
Ms. Barhu,
Yes.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Mr. Betts.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for all you do. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, case C. I do feel like this is exactly the type of example of why this board exists, is when there's like, oh, the code, is a little weird, and, we have an opportunity to make that difference. Okay, case C, if you could read that into the record, please.
Case C is a variance request by Stephanie Jones, property owner, for variances from Article 6, Section 6.3G, Vehicular Access and Connectivity of the City of Daytona Beach Land Development Code for a single-family structure to decrease the required interior lot frontage for single-family residence with 2 access points from 75 feet to 54.96 feet. This is section 6.3G4A II, number of access points, to decrease the minimum interior side property line setback from 5 feet to 4 feet for a driveway, and to decrease the required minimum distance between the closest edges of 2 access points from 28 feet to 0 feet. These variances will allow approval of an after-the-fact building permit for a driveway at a newly constructed single-family home with an attached accessory dwelling unit. This property is located at 519 Cedar Street.
Thank you. Is the applicant here? Are you the applicant? Okay. Just by process of elimination. Come on up. State your name and address for the record, please, and then just tell us kind of why you're here and a little about your case, and I'm sure we'll have some questions for you.
Okay. My name is Stephanie Jones. I live at 625 Russell Drive, Daytona Beach, 32114. And the reason I chose to do that, it wasn't trying to be defiant. I literally did not know that it had to be 75 feet in order to put a circular driveway. That came to my attention through Missy. She sent me an email saying that it was, my
Final survey.
yes, my final evaluation of for my CO was denied because I had put a circular driveway. And I was kind of baffled, so she sent me the code and everything, and I looked it up. And so I kept going back and forth. At first, I was going to cut it, because I built the house for my son. My son has 14 children, and so he's not able to actually afford it. And I thank God he allowed me the ability to build it for him. So I did it. And once I found out, we went back and forth. Missy sent out, was it Shane? He came out and checked and on where it had to be cut and everything, because the water meter is located within that location. I would have had to cut 14.2 feet of concrete back to meet the code requirements. So we ended up where it was 11 feet. So I decided it was so dangerous because my son has already got hit once crossing International. And Cedar Street is it's a high traffic road, going in and out. So that was the purpose of doing that, not to be defiant, but to make it easier to enter and access, exit. So I'm hoping that y'all will understand my reason. It wasn't to be disrespectful in any manner. I did other homes. My daughter lives next door. I built her a home at 521. She lives there. Soon as we finish this, I plan on starting another one for my oldest son. So these things are being done. These houses are being built to leave an inheritance for my children and then my grandchildren, not for me to try and cause a disruption in what the code requirement says.
Thank you. Well, first of all, you did a beautiful job on the home. And do you own your applications? You own the property on either side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions? And just to be clear, it sounds like you're saying, they were kind of pouring the concrete, and you were like, oh, just add a little bit more. It wasn't.
Well, what actually happened when my concrete guy came to form it up, and I was like, well, it'd be a lot easier because my son was there, and he actually almost got hit because his car was parked on the side of the road. Then even with the flashers, they're running up and down that road. And so my son asked, well, you think we can just curve it? So that's how we ended up doing that. I do have a copy of what Melissa did approve, and I have a copy of what I actually did against the rule. But it was not to be disrespectful.
And I think we have a picture of both of those in our packet.
Yes, ma'am.
What it was supposed to look like,
Yes,
and what it looks like afterwards. And it looks like the concrete that goes in front of the house, that was all planned. We're just talking about this little.
The entryway, the
Okay,
apron.
what connects? Yeah, that concrete from.
Yes, I actually have two entrances, which, because my property is only 50 feet wide, it only allows for one. So with that, that's a violation.
Okay, thank you. We'll see if we have some questions for you, maybe. Any questions? No? Questions?
Yeah, I had a question. The one that was originally approved was actually going to be an asphalt driveway, was it?
I was gonna originally do asphalt, but I have asphalt in my yard,
I hate it.
and it does absolutely nothing for the property. And then I have grandchildren, and that is just, they're gonna pick it up, and somebody's gonna be throwing asphalt on somebody else,
Right,
and
right.
so I just figured it'd be easier to put the concrete there instead of doing the
Yeah,
asphalt.
it's a better look. I
Yes,
agree.
sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed that the part that kind of extends beyond the house, originally it was going to be 9 feet wide, but we went, how wide did we actually go, Missy? Did we stay the same, or did we narrow it up just a little bit?
Actually, I had to, it's a little bit wider. The reason being, when you come down the way that the finished floor elevation,
Okay,
if you look at the finished floor elevation on there, coming down, you have to make the correct amount of stairs, the treads, in
Right.
order for people to get up. If you have the wrong amount, then it becomes a safety hazard.
right,
So the height coming down, we had to end up having one additional stair.
okay,
So it wouldn't have been enough room for a vehicle to actually turn in
okay.
and keep the same radius.
Oh, gotcha, okay. Okay. Good, all right. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against? No? Does city have anything? Oh, you want to come on? Come on, if you want to, only if you want to. It's no pressure. I know, I hate being put on the spot as well. It's like, you're getting the eyes, you're getting the eyes. You can always change your mind. Yeah, you're gonna have to come up.
See, since
Sorry.
you stood up, now you
We're
have
gonna
to
have to
come up.
put you on center stage. And please state your name and address for the record. We got our rules we gotta follow,
My name is Jaquita McNeil. My address 624 Willie Drive. The question that I have is in regards to in driving in that area. It seems that the issue is the concrete on the west end of the driveway is too wide. Is that what the issue is? So, but if it's too wide or too far on the west side and there's a water meter there, if you reduce it, then what's supporting the surrounding part of the water meter? Because there's going to be less concrete and that water meter is on the resident's property. So if you remove that concrete, there's not going to be enough to support the water meter. I'm just curious. I mean, that's just my thought.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the water meter and all that, I know it was mentioned earlier. This is really just about the entrance rule and the way that the, code states how wide the property has to be in order for any two entrances to exist. So,
if it's too wide and you reduce it on each side, then that means that the side where the water meter is going to be reduced as well. And so it's going to...
Does a water meter need concrete to support itself? Or?
I believe there were some issues with this particular water meter. I think it had been moved a couple different times.
I think what happened was, the meter, when they put it in, they put it directly where the concrete was supposed to stop. So that would have caused a problem. So if we cut it actually to 14.2, it would leave the water meter unstable. So that's why Shane came out. And he said 11 feet. So we moved it back and he marked the property where it should be, where it's allowed to be cut rather.
okay.
And that would save some concrete and keep the water meter stable.
Okay. And is that concrete where the entrance part is, or this is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So it does affect that. Okay, okay. Thank you. Do you have anything to add as far as the city, just comments?
Public Works, because the code, the land development code is what dictates how many entry points you can have, the lot size or the lot width, as well as the distance from the property line the driveway has to be. But the issue of the second entry, like, the LDC is an issue, but also the apron is in the city right of way, so that's a Public Works concern. Public Works has already given their approval on
Oh,
this.
they have?
We're okay
Okay.
with it being
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay.
And really, to be honest with you, how many children?
14.
As teenagers, there are going to be a lot of cars around.
Yeah, right.
You know, and I'm thinking, well, there's more driveway here, actually, so in the future, it may keep a little bit of the off the street parking as well, so, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, it's safer for you to come in and out, but also for the people driving, there's not a car backing up and into the road and things like that, so.
Yeah, the other question I had is, you had a professional concrete guy come and do this, right?
Yes, sir.
So he had to lay it out and everything else?
Yes.
He didn't catch it? He didn't pick up
Well,
on?
actually, what happened, when he did go by the plans.
Okay,
And I made the decision based on what my son was saying about, how the people were driving on the road because his
Right.
car was almost hit.
right.
And so I was like, well, can it just be curved instead of us just stopping it here? Not knowing that my property needed to be 75 feet and not 50 in order to be, be into code. So I didn't know.
So he folled orders, is what
He
you're telling?
followed order.
Okay, I
And
was
then
going to
when
say.
the
I'm just
inspector-
surprised he didn't pick up on it and said, hey,
Well, when-
wait a minute, you better check on the side setbacks
Yes,
and
sir.
stuff.
Well, when the inspector came out, he inspected it, and we did fail the first inspection because he said the apron wasn't wide enough.
Oh, okay.
So we addressed that, and we actually went over, I think, maybe a foot, Melissa. And because she looked at the notes that the inspector put in, we worked past that part, but it just still left the two entrance,
Right.
which was the big problem.
Right, correct. Okay. All right, thank you.
Welcome.
I just have a comment also. I think the place looks great. You did a great job with it. It's certainly an enhancement to the area. And you're a very gracious mother. If you need any children to adopt or anything, I'd like to volunteer.
I was thinking the same thing.
Me. Yeah, I went by this afternoon. I don't see any safety issues on the street, and after considering if there's additional parking, I think it'd be safer for those on the street and for the family itself, so. There's a issue with the side setback too, I believe, right? The 5 foot to 4.2.
I thought that was just because of the little apron. Is
Well,
it the whole setback?
The original plan had the 5-foot setback,
Right.
and what she was saying was when our Public Works inspector went out there, he told her that that point wasn't wide enough.
Okay.
I guess he hadn't looked at the survey
Okay.
and didn't realize what was supposed to be there, so he
Right.
told her it needed to be a foot wider.
Okay.
And that was why she widened that part.
The
of it.
whole
Okay.
thing, not just the apron.
Okay. That's kind of incidental to the rest of it. Okay.
Because of the mention of the speed of the cars going up and down Cedar, in this document, should we also make a kind referral to public safety or saying, hey, it's something you might want to look at as far as that, the speed of the cars going up and down that road, if that's such a hazard?
And they have come out on numerous occasions, and they patrol the area and stop. And it stops for maybe a month, and then the next,
I know. I feel like, yeah, it's almost like the nature of that road is like, I don't know how to explain it because there's like nobody on it, and then all of a sudden there's a car coming down, and it happened to me when I was out there looking around. So
But when you go there in the evenings and the weekends, it's really crazy in
It's
that area
busy,
with
yeah.
traffic, yeah, nonstop. And
The
you
only
have
reason-
kids out there too.
The only reason I'm bringing that forward, I'm looking, I guess, towards David, is I want to protect our council, our board, because if something came up in the future and we didn't make public safety aware of this, although they may formally be aware of it at all times, I'm just saying to protect our board that we've made that referral So if something comes up in the future, our board doesn't get it. I don't know the law, so I'm just,
If you're asking, I don't see any
We're
liability
immune.
that you would have failing to make that referral. But you're certainly free to make that if you want to make that recommendation. Obviously, it sounds more like an issue of enforcement than an issue of the actual speed, a speed limit on the street. And so, that's an issue that is going to be ongoing because, as was indicated, officers respond and it gets better, and then they're not there, and whether we have the resources or not to constantly have somebody on patrol there is difficult to say. But certainly, there'd be nothing wrong with you making that recommendation. I don't think that the board would be held responsible in any way for failing, if that's the question.
that was my pure question.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be held accountable or responsible. They already know it.
Yeah. Even with this case, just at hand, I don't think we necessarily have to approve it for that reason, However, it's definitely a consideration,
It was just in the written
Yeah.
document, that's why. I
Yeah.
made
It's
that
a good question. It's a good question, so.
Madam Chair. Ms. Jones, what is the speed limit on that road? Okay.
It seems reasonable.
What's that?
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's an opportunity for some revenue for the Daytona Beach Police Department.
Thank you for your question and your answer. Do we have any other comments before we ask for a motion?
I'll move to approve case C with the staff report, subject to staff report, and that's it, no condition.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Ms. Bowler,
Yes.
Mr. Connors,
Yeah.
Mr. Harshaw,
Yes.
Ms. Barhu,
Yes.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Mr. Betts.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you for making
luck with
such
all those
nice improvements.
grandchildren.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck with all those grandkids. Good luck with Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Bye. Thank you. Okay. Review of the cases? Yes.
Okay. Case A, approved 6-0. Case B, approved 6-0. Case C, approved 6-0.
Thank you. New business, we do have a letter. Last time we were here, we talked about, the vacancies that we have, the difficulty in filling the vacancies or, just getting enough people so some of the existing members, would feel comfortable rolling off. It seemed like we all had some of the same concerns. And so the solution to that was that Mr. Harshaw was going to draft a letter for our review to the City Commission, which he has done. And that was part of our packet. Hopefully you all got a chance to review it. And so now would be the time to make any comments on that, either for a redraft or if we feel that, we're ready to approve it, we can send it off. So with that, we'll open the floor. I also, in conjunction with that, we were talking about all the different city boards that there were and consolidation and terms and things like that. And so I did print out a packet. This is online, but I printed out a packet. We don't have to go through it today, just for you guys to look at. We can always talk about it again next time. These are all the city advisory boards, like that citizens fill. And we actually have a lot of our members on this board, our terms are expiring. I thought it was just mine, but it looks like,
Is mine up again too?
yeah, let's see. Let me get there. We have Mr. Harshaw, me, Mr. Connors, and Ms. Barhu, all expiring in December. And that's not to say, people won't want to continue and get reappointed, but, in that event that nobody wanted to stay, we have even a bigger problem than we think we do now. So with that, I'll open it up for comments to the letter. Thank you, Mr. Harshaw, for drafting it. I personally thought it was very good.
Tear it up if you don't like it.
Uh, I'm happy with it,
Yeah, I think.
and we should copy the city manager, I think, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly who we should, that's why I put a little question mark at the end, who should.
he
we-
puts out a newsletter in our building, one right here.
Oh,
And, you know, so you could specifically put our board on there.
All right, so
I
city
mean, that's
man-
specific, I mean, there's a lot of other boards here that have vacancies, so,
Very well written. I have to get you the right.
but
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
really good. I'm fine.
But I do have a thought, because
absolutely,
if I can comment on it.
absolutely.
Missy, I don't know if you're aware of it. I know my husband sits on the planning board, and I believe one of the gentlemen that sits on the board, he wasn't allowed to remain on it because of something to do with changes. And I was thinking if we could recruit him possibly to join our board, because I understand he was very disappointed that he couldn't remain on the planning board.
Do you have any idea what zone he's in?
I think two.
Because that, we're looking for two.
I believe it's two.
That would
Yeah.
And that happened at their last meeting.
What was his name?
His name's
Oh, I can get his name from my husband.
Two things.
Tony Servant, it's right here.
Is that the one that?
He's
Yeah.
Zone
The
two.
chair.
It says.
Oh, no, husband, my husband's the chair, but, I'll get the name of the gentleman that's no longer on that board. Cause I thought, well, if he truly wanted to be on the board, maybe he'll join our board.
Yeah, if you can get me his information, I can
I will
I
get
can-
it for you right now,
figure out.
yeah, before he goes somewhere else.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's the planning board.
Can I offer a suggestion that as a part of an attachment to this letter, what's interesting is when John sent out, okay, here's our board, and here's the dates that people can or cannot move off or whatever, but it doesn't have all the zones. Right?
Oh, our board?
Oh, it does, I'm sorry. Zones, yeah, there's vacant, yeah, I'm sorry. Could we attach something to this letter to reaffirm that these zones are already vacant? And just this section also indicates people who may be moving off
Right.
the board.
Mm-hmm.
So the zone leaders or what are they, commissioners of
Yeah.
that zone say, oh, wow, you know, Connors might be moving off that board, maybe I should talk with him and make sure we got a backup or what.
I like the idea of attaching it. I do think we should definitely note that we have, you know, the number of vacancies and the number of people we could potentially have rolling off or terms expiring, you know, at the end of this year. I don't know who's planning on continuing. Are you planning on continuing?
I don't know, I'm in flux.
That's how I feel. My plan, as I kind of said last time, you know, I would be willing to stay on a couple months, but at this point, I don't want to re-up for another 3 years and then resign because I won't do that. So I'm willing to stay on, you know, another couple months, you know, 3 months, maybe till March or something until, you know, I don't want to create an issue by leaving, but I don't want to stay on for another 3 years is definitely too long. And I don't want to be forced to resign because I won't do that, you know? And
Right.
so I'd rather just be like a temporary
2
person.
years and 11 months. 2 years and 11 months, we allow you to stay. Not 3 years.
That's funny.
So for those that don't have any stamina, this is my 20th anniversary.
No, I
know,
love, I
you've
do
been
love this
forever.
board. I mean, I like all of you guys.
But
Like,
you're leaving me.
I don't want to.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's like
Wow.
life just
Wow.
gets in the
Wow.
way.
I
Wow.
also
Wow.
think the idea of re-upping, if, for example,
Tony,
if I
what's
re-up,
the gentleman
I'm not
that
sure
is no longer
I'll
on
be
the
alive
planning
in 2
board?
years, you know, so
Right.
it might be
What's the name of the
re-upping
gentleman
for
that you said it was? not
24
on the
months or
planning board
something
anymore?
like
Right.
that. But I still think that, I'm actually blanking on who our commissioner is, Stacy, I think.
Stacy Cantu is your
Stacy
commissioner.
needs to
Okay.
start thinking about, hey. we
Okay,
need to
and he
find
was zone
somebody
two?
Who's gonna step in to replace this guy in some period of time.
Yeah. I agree. I like the idea of attaching that and noting that.
Okay.
And then I do think if we don't hear anything, like we make sure we follow up in a month or two. Maybe each of us by email or something like that, you know, to make them feel like, you know, it is a
Okay,
pressing
thank
issue.
you. Bye-bye.
I feel like it's just like the speed thing where it comes up and it's an issue and everybody's concerned and then everybody kind of goes their own way again and forgets about it. So I think it's great that we are reminding them.
Yeah, and I'm also going to make a change to the first paragraph, because basically, in reading this, I guess the mayor actually nominates one regular member and one alternate member.
Those are filled. Those are Mr. Betts and Mr.
Well, just my information at the top says one board member is
Oh, yeah,
appointed
yeah.
from each zone, and then one is elected by the mayor, but actually the mayor is a regular plus an alternate, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
So what do I do with this letter once we have it where it needs to be? I email it to the commissioners?
People get appointed by
What-
certain ranks, but they reach
Is that-
something and it wiped them out. So
yeah, that was my expectation. They would receive an email. Once we had the letter approved, we'll just attach it, you would attach it to an email to the city commissioners, and then they would, of course, have your email address if they want to reach out to you for any clarification. That, I think that would make sense.
the redevelopment.
And now then, do we have to come back to our meeting to discuss again, or how?
In terms of the
you
final,
want to say it?
if you agree to a final form of the letter
Say it
today,
first.
then
I didn't
obviously
know about the letter.
you can send out that letter based upon a motion approving it. If we don't agree to the final form, then we need to have it come back at the next meeting to have the board approve it before it gets signed.
So we can't do any of those, we can't do those changes in the middle of,
Well,
You can't have a communication with one another
right.
to make those amendments. Obviously, I know that seems kind of silly.
no, sunshine. No, it's sunshine. Yeah.
That's the,
That makes sense. Do you think that we could like approve it? Like I think we're all on the same page. And so if the wording is this or that, if we can say it's approved with this change and then it moves forward, can we do that? I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of what you said. So, okay.
If you want to, in your as part of your motion,
Okay.
say these are the changes.
Okay, yeah,
that
okay.
has to be made, then those changes can be made.
Okay.
And email sent out without having to go
Okay.
back to approve it. At a
That's great. I would prefer to do that then because I'm like basically fine with it.
And I think,
any
I think the person who wrote the letter could make the motion.
With me, do I disperse that
sounds
to
good.
everybody in an email, or do I have to bring it back?
Putting in
to the next
parentheses,
meeting?
he's not listening.
He's like,
It's okay. I think you heard me.
that's funny.
He's working on his punctuation.
That's all right. He can, my,
directly.
Just know you can write a letter for me
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah,
Anything.
you're hired.
Yeah,
Be
you're
something
hired.
that you'd
Official letter writer.
next meeting.
Okay.
So what I'd like to change in the letter, if you read the handout that Majid gave us on board members shall include one regular member nominated by each city commissioner from among resident of their zone, plus one regular member and one alternate member that is nominated by the mayor. I'm going to change that, just that little section, the first part, that reads exactly like that.
okay.
Okay? And then we're going to CC David as the assistant city attorney, and then we're going to CC the city manager.
Yes.
That work?
good.
And then I think on the approval, since we're approved on it, then what we'll do is I will then submit that to Missy, who will then email it to the city commissioners. Do you want to CC us on it when you do it? Yes? No?
I don't see a problem with her copying you on it, just keeping in mind that it'd be inappropriate to respond all to the group with any comments. on it.
Right.
And so any comments from any commissioner to Missy would then need to be relayed at the next hearing and not have a discussion outside of an open meeting
Okay.
about it.
So David,
And they're welcome
you're
to
not
come.
allowed to talk about it, okay?
And I won't, but they're welcome to come to our meeting too and speak to us about it directly.
Yeah.
True. That's a good point.
Just as you'd be permitted to go to a commission meeting. to
Right.
address
Yes.
That's true
Yeah.
too. In the evening time, late,
Okay.
Wednesdays.
Madam Chair, you're gonna attach
It was sitting there.
Okay.
Attach the Board of Adjustment that she
Yeah.
printed off on strictly that one showing that the vacancies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a nice attachment.
Or not only showing the vacancies, but that there's highlighting the ones that are coming up at the end of the year.
Highlighting, yeah.
Yeah, with the dates. Okay, perfect. That's attachment one.
Maya, did you send that to me, that letter?
Me. Which letter?
The one that they have?
No, she actually
It's just what's-
she just printed out off of.
What's
the-
online?
Remember last time I said I was going to print out all the boards are listed. That's all that is. You
Okay.
can have my
Okay.
copy if you want to add it to our packet today. It's like what's available on the city website.
Okay,
I didn't think it was still up there, but it's like a PDF now or something like that.
Gotcha.
So I just downloaded it, printed it out.
Okay.
That's helpful. Well, the gentleman name is, James, Newman.
He resigned?
Yeah. Well,
That's-
because of the changes with whatever the zoning thing was.
You said
I don't
James
have the
Newman?
details of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Says resigned.
yeah.
James Newman
oh,
resigned.
I
okay.
think what happened with the restructuring of the commission zones, he was in the same zone as another member. of the
Right,
board.
something like that. I wasn't sure of the
Yeah,
details.
that's the reason that he had to resign.
Yeah.
Okay, so how could we reach out to him? Would you be able to reach out to him and ask him
I'll
if
find his
he'd be
contact
interested?
and-
Okay.
Zone 3.
Okay.
My zone.
Or if, you don't want to or aren't allowed, I'm happy to reach out to him too, if you forward me his contact.
But he
But
wasn't-
however you want to handle it, might be easier coming from you. So.
I can contact
That's what he
him,
was
can I?
representing when he was on
Yeah,
there.
I'll get,
Three.
because Ms. Goodman should have his information if he's on one of the boards, so I'll get his information from her and I'll reach out to him.
It was something to do
That
with.
would be great, thank you.
Tell him we're the cool board.
So we make a motion to approve the letter with the changes that we've discussed?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Approved,
great.
all right?
Yes.
But he'll come through that, we'll have to get him through the waiver thing if it's a conflict with the zoning.
Okay.
What else, young lady?
Can't be.
I think that's all. If I could find the agenda, there we go. New cases. I think that's all, right?
That's right. Gives us something.
Just
Adjunct.
adjournment. We will adjourn the meeting at 3:21.